I am the troll of the swamp. I live in the swamp and do swamp things.
Ladies, gentlemen, and wanderers of all ages, Where Winds Meet is an incredibly deep game full of various mechanics to get a grip with, and there are so many things to do that you can easily get a little bit lost, miss some important things, or just honestly not process something that the game does actually tell you because it throws so many things at you back to back when you're first starting, and it hides a lot of information deep in the menus. So today, we're going to go over a bunch of things that you can do to make your journey a little bit easier when you are starting off in Where Winds Meet. And this will range from super beginner specific locations of useful things up to general tips to help you out as you progress deeper and deeper into the game, but without any sort of spoilers for those who do care about that. Starting off then, an important note right out the gate is that reward quality in the game and stuff like that is not tied to your game's difficulty setting, so you should not feel any guilt for playing on an easier difficulty if you find the combat challenging and just want to progress, or maybe there's a boss that you are under geared for and you just want to get past it and get the rewards without the struggle. As much as I generally do personally advocate for fighting through that difficulty for the satisfaction at the end if you succeed, in a video about making the game easier, I do feel the need to mention that you can literally make the game easier and there's no downsides, to the point that you can beat a boss intended for like level 30 or so players at level 10. It may not be the exemplary version of what the gameplay in this game can be if you play on the lowest difficulty, but if what you're here for is the story, if you just want to experience that story and get as powerful as possible in the background, maybe you don't even really care about the nuance of early game combat and just want to glide through that to actually turn on higher difficulties when you get further in, difficulty changing is absolutely an option that you can do at any point that dramatically changes the feeling of the game. Outside of that then, let's talk about more in-game specific stuff. During combat, one of the main mechanics is a poise or stance breaking effect. You empty the enemy's stance bar by either deflecting or attacking, and then they enter a stunned position, and there is a prompt to punish them with a timer on how long you can do it for. A common mistake that people make is just instantly hitting that finisher for the free damage, but the real trick that you can use with this is that you can do the attack at any point during that timer, and the enemy isn't like immune to damage while they're in that position, so what you want to do is get as much free damage in as possible while they are stunned, then you hit that prompt at pretty much the very last second possible for the extra damage. It can interrupt your animations, so you can be very, very greedy with this and go all the way to the end of the timer and then get a lot of extra pow out of this interaction every time that you get a stun. This isn't generally necessary for smaller foes that you'll probably kill before you'd even get to have this full interaction take place, but against bigger enemies like bosses, it can make a world of difference. Past that, for something that's a bit more of a system or mechanic you need to be aware of, very early in the game as you are going to the general shrine, you will pass this location right here on your map. And if you walked past it, you missed out on a number of things, so make sure you go back. But even if you did come here originally, you may have just sort of forgot about it or abandoned the mechanic afterwards. That said, at this location, the first time you get there will be a man stuck in a rock. Pull him out of the rock and he will reveal himself to be the Oddity collection vendor for the Melodies of Peace. He'll introduce you to the concept of oddities by asking you to burn and retrieve a whisper hive from the nearby tree, which is the same tree where you learn Tai Chi from a bear, which is a crazy sentence to be able to say, but shoot the hive with a fire arrow, jump up and grab it, and then you can hand it in to this NPC. He will then offer you a choice between 4 martial arts that you can get, which are essentially weapon movesets. The choices on offer are the Panacea Fan, which is a healing focused fan martial art, the Thundercry Blade, which is a tank focused Mo Blade martial art, Infernal Twinblades, which is a melee focused dual blades martial art, and then Vernal Umbrella, which is a ranged focused umbrella martial art. Between these, you can get any of them from other locations later on, so you're not fully locked out based on your choices here, but it is worth noting that Panacea Fan and Infernal Twinblades are obtainable much earlier than the other two, so I recommend choosing between Thundercry Blade or Vernal Umbrella for the meantime just to get those a lot earlier. Vernal Umbrella was my personal choice for the sake of having effective range damage early game, as nothing is really safer than fighting from a position where your enemy just can't hit you. That said, this Oddity vendor is also how you get permanent stat upgrades for your character by handing in any oddities that you collect out in the open world. This includes things like the miasma flowers, where you have to find and hit the purple butterflies around them to then make them harvestable, or the red butterflies that you have to follow around and interact with, and it even includes things like the dagger generals, which make noises that draw you to a specific bit of the terrain that you then have to do a power stomp on to break them out and then pick them up. And there are plenty more oddities as well. These are generally noticeable by this symbol on your minimap map quite clearly. They are all over the place, and you want to just be doing these and collecting them as you move through the world for multiple important reasons. First, Oddity collection is essentially like a secondary skill tree. It can be really easy to forget it exists after your first hour of the game, because to interact with it you have to go to the Oddity vendor. The actual power gains from this system range from important permanent stats like increased maximum endurance, increased maximum health, increased vitality so you can use more mystic skills in combat. You can get things like damage increases, and there's mechanical stuff too, like new inner ways, or this node here, which is super important, wallstride shadowdash. This is just a massive traversal improvement. It's essentially a super sprint once you have it, and of course once you can use it as well, as this is a wallstride skill, which means that its use is limited in each region until you reach exploration level 4. At exploration level 4 for either of the regions, you unlock that region's equivalent unlocker, which lets you use grand lightness and wallstride skills throughout that entire region, and that will free up your movement a ton in the game and just make it feel a lot faster and smoother to get around. As for how to get exploration levels, this will happen pretty naturally as you get bits of exploration experience from pretty much everything that you do, but the main things are going to be the campaign itself, the legacies, which are the sort of like little side stories that you can stumble upon and do. These give a good amount of exploration XP as well, and then all of these things will just give you some level of exploration XP in general. Even just oddities that you pick up will give you extra exploration XP as you go through. Even random chests throughout the world will give you extra exploration XP and get you closer to those unlocked thresholds. But as if that wasn't enough, oddities are also a major contributor to your aspiration attributes. These are actually quite hidden away in the menu, but they are pretty important. This is a stat that you have to go actively looking for to find under the develop menu, character details, and then exploration stats. Specifically here we have your total aspiration attributes. These are gained by doing general exploration activities, with oddities being a big source of these if you just do all the oddities you go past. And while this may not matter much in the early game, all equipment has aspiration attribute requirements. Even early gear only requires stuff like 5 in an attribute to use it, which is why you probably won't even notice early on, but at higher levels, if you are ignoring these things, if you are ignoring the exploration aspects of the game, you will find yourself just woefully understated and unable to equip the best gear that you find just because you do not have enough mindset or constitution or coordination, your aspiration attributes, and collecting oddities as you run past them is a great way to keep these points growing as you move through the world. If an oddity or any sort of puzzle in the game is ever confusing you, make sure to check the ground for signposts from other players, as these can be extremely helpful, or just point out that there's a cat in front of you, or you can use the wind sense talent too, which will highlight any nearby items of note, including objectives related to oddities too. That said, you should explore and take part inside objectives just in general. It can be really easy to miss out on free power, or even full-on mystic skills and martial arts if you don't. Using the general shrine location as an example, it is the first sort of hub of optional activities you have. In this small area, you can learn the leaping toad mystic skill from this gentleman hanging out with the toad through a skill thief interaction. It's totally optional. You can completely miss this, or you can pick it up if you notice. You can fight the extra combatants beside the arena to unlock them as combat assist later on, which will let you use them as essentially summons for harder bosses in the game to have an easier experience. There's mini games that you can take part in this area for extra exploration rewards too. There's conversations you can have with the strange in-game chatbot feature, but if you succeed at these and make the people friendly, they will just give you free stuff on a weekly basis, essentially forever. There's chests that you can walk up to and find, and the big one for this area is this floor panel here you can stomp open to reveal a whole legacy that you would otherwise miss. And this is basically just an underground bandit base that you can fight through for a bunch of rewards, including the Cloud Steps mystic skill, which can be super useful later on in the game and would be a real shame to miss at this point. On a note of why, and sort of breaking into our next point here, Cloud Steps, as well as many other mystic skills, have secondary effects that are only really clear if you go out of your way to read their description. Cloud Steps can knock enemies off of horses, and Tai Chi can break through enemies guarding with shields and then throw the shields back at them for bonus damage as a bonus effect too, as just a couple of the examples here. These mystic skills can also be used to solve puzzles or access things that you otherwise couldn't. An example is that the first bear, after you learn Tai Chi from that bear, you can easily just defeat the bear and not realize that you've missed this, but there is a rock about 10 feet to the left of where that bear is that you can throw it into using Tai Chi. And if you do that, you'll bust the rock open and there is a bonus chest that you can access inside. And there are little things like this all over the world if you just sort of keep your eyes peeled on the environment and consider what's around you when you get into combat, or even outside of combat too. That said, the general majority of mystic skills are actually missable things from optional quests in the game, or just objectives that you could easily miss. So aside from Cloud Steps, which we did just talk about, let's talk about a couple more easily missed ones. As you move towards Heaven's Pier, you'll pass this field of petrified people right here on your map, and you can talk to the main man off of the side here, and he'll teach you a new mystic skill straight up called Meridian Touch. This can be used to cure NPCs of various ailments that they have as an exploration function that can get you a bunch of nice extra interactions, or it can be used to petrify your enemies, though it's only a small chance of success against things like bosses, but still very useful even for just things like its open world applications. Like there are certain just dynamic events in the open world that you wouldn't be able to do if you did not have this mystic skill that give you rewards that you would not be able to get. As you reach Heaven's Pier then, near the entrance of this area, there's a drinking contest going on over here. You can talk to this man over to the left and he will teach you Celestial Seas. This is an absolutely invaluable mystic skill. It lets you just take things from a distance, and the simple applications it tells you about at the start are just stealing things, but in combat this can disarm enemies and then hit them with their own weapon, and in any stealth-based scenarios in the game it's just an incredibly useful tool to have access to a ranged item grabber. Then just a bit forward from here as well, at this spot on your map there's another very missable observation skill, Thief Moment here, which is where you can watch a goose bully the hell out of a bear to learn Honking Havoc. This is an AoE mystic skill that inflicts the breath hold status on enemies that it hits. Finally then, I just want to quickly touch on equipment upgrading to make sure you know the two main ways that you can do this. First is martial arts upgrades. You can upgrade each martial art separately from the martial arts menu upgrade button, and then you can spend resources to increase the damage of skills using that martial art. This is separate from the base damage of the weapon itself that you hold, so you need to upgrade both this and the equipment itself for the best results, and for martial arts you can't upgrade a martial art to be higher level than you are personally. On the gear screen then, each individual gear slot can be upgraded and enhanced in exchange for some resources as well, and a very important note about this is that it doesn't enhance the specific piece of equipment, it enhances that equipment slot. So if you upgrade your right hand weapon and then change to a new weapon in your right hand instead, it will maintain the benefits of enhancing, so there is genuinely no downside to doing this early, despite what your instincts might tell you about what to expect from this type of system. That pretty much does it for today, and everyone, an early guide to gaining power and being powerful and just setting yourself up for success long term in the early game of Where Winds Meet. I hope you've all enjoyed this, and if you have any more tips or specific location suggestions for your fellow players, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.